Angel Reese, the barnacle on the ass of Caitlin Clark. She's hanging on for dear life. Incoming second-year WNBA player Angel Reese didn't need many words to react to Donald Trump winning the election as the former LSU star, I was going to say something else, who infamously is dumb enough to pay $8,000 a month in rent while making $70,000 in salary, took to X to share her stupidity. This is a really dumb person. But we're going to pay attention to her because she dresses up in booty shorts, shows her tatas, her ass, and we're all supposed to listen. As a woman, I'm heartbroken for all of us. Why? Why? What's your problem? You want abortions? You want to kill what? You want to kill babies? That's your thing? Is that your problem? What's your problem? I mean, as a woman, you should be excited. Nobody has given women more opportunities than Donald Trump. Nobody has hired more women. No one has put women in more leadership positions than Donald Trump. Why? Everything about you, Angel Reese, is about spreading those wheels? Huh? Abortion? What? See, this is the thing. This is the reason that, well, it's one of the reasons. I mean, nobody was voting for this. Come on. But one of the reasons the Harris Waltz tickets never took off, what do they have? They had no policies. They appealed to young, dumb women and older, blue-haired women. Well, okay, but that's it. Tell me the policies. We're going to give $25,000 to every minority to buy a house. What? We're going to make billionaires pay their fair share? If billionaires paid every dime, if every billionaire in our country paid every dime they had to fund Harris's dumbass programs, they still would be short. That's the kind of policy that Harris threw out there. But she did try to appeal to the terminally stupid, like Angel Reese and her 5th grade education, or LeBron James and his 8th grade education, or Steve Kerr and his smugness. And they all did what we knew they were going to do. They all reacted in kind. Angel Reese reacted stupid, really stupid, because, well, she is. Here is some of the Angel Reese backlash. Turns out aborting babies is not that good of a policy to make your entire political identity on. Really? No kidding. That's what they did here in Indiana. The attorney general and the clown lady running for governor, they both only talked about abortion. Like, what are you doing? You might be able to afford rent now. Ooh, clever, meaning Donald Trump's going to bring down the cost of everything. I see what you did there. I do, Tyler. Smart women know how to vote beyond identity politics, not Angel Reese. Angel Reese is just dumb. I love it. I love when the stupid, look, I'm stupid, okay? But I try really hard, all right? I read, I study, I've always studied. But this beautiful brain, it ain't great. But I make up for it with hard work. Angel Reese makes up for it by taking her clothes off and thinking people actually care about what she has to say. Nobody cares, but we like making fun of it. Well, Dakich, you care. You're talking about, yes. If you're not making fun of Angel Reese, what are you doing? You have to. You must. Smart women know how to vote and think beyond identity politics. Brilliant. Caitlin Clark is the superior basketball too, you maggot. What? Put that back up there. That's not me talking. What? I feel like Ron Burgundy. I just read something I didn't want to really read. Cry me a river. Go work on your jump shot. Trump 2024. Girl, nobody gives a girl. And then, of course, Steve Kerr came in and basically offended every person, and there are a ton, including Laken Riley and her family, with this little ditty of a commentary, as only the smug, smart-ass, wealthy, out-of-touch Steve Kerr could possibly give you. Here he is.
Where you kind of hope the country kind of goes from there?
Well, I mean, I believe in democracy, and I think the American people have spoken and voted for Trump, and want him to do well the next 4 years. I want our country to do well. So I'm just thankful that there wasn't any voting fraud this time. You know, it's last time. I mean, all those illegal immigrants who crashed the border and raped and murdered people, and then voted 6 times. That was unfortunate, but thankfully this time everything was clean. So it's great that every election has been really valid, except for that last one 4 years ago. So twinkle in my eye as I say that, in case you couldn't see it. But no, I believe in democracy. I believe in the will of the people, and I will do everything I can to support my country and our government. And I want nothing but the best for us. And it's a complex world. We've got a lot of interesting stuff between wars abroad and a global economy that has shifted everything in terms of what it means for our citizens and their day-to-day lives. And I'm well aware I live in a bubble, and I'm one of the luckiest people on earth. And so I want what's best for us, and I hope Trump can deliver that.
Yeah, you can see how smug he was, and he was anticipating the normal bullshit laughter from reporters. But once he went to making fun of immigrants raping and murdering, which, unless you do live in a bubble like apparently Steve Kerr does, well, that's not a laughing matter. That's not funny. That's real. And let me go to the voter part. Republicans got over 500 attorneys spread across the country ready to go. Republicans were smarter this time. They put in people in the polling booths, the voting areas. There was a bunch more in the area that I voted in for sure. And let's not forget, somehow, some way, because everything was made public, even though there were longer lines, even though the turnout was bigger, the number of votes was about 20 million less. Steve, explain that, please, in your smug, arrogant, little white boy posture. Please explain that. Steve Kerr, he will not be attacked because, frankly, Steve Kerr's on the right side of the media. But I must tell you, as someone who has followed this almost daily, after I was told by the third-ranking Indianapolis Metropolitan Police Department officer how awful Biden's policies have been for our town here in Indy. The difference between Biden's policies and Trump's policies are the difference between many murders and not many murders, as the MS-13 gang has come into the west side of our city, at least according to the police officer. Well, guess what? That's no joking matter. Guess what? That's real. But again, Steve Kerr said it. He lives in a bubble. He may not know Lake and Riley. He may not know the little kids in New York that were raped and murdered in front of their parents. He may not know those things are real. He may think being smug covers it all. And frankly, with the media and the media coverage Steve Kerr gets, it does cover it all. He won't catch any flack for this. His smug, little, obnoxious self will move it along to the next thing. He would be demanding, if it were somebody else, an apology. I mean demanding. But that's not what we're going to do. In Steve Kerr's world, smug is better. John Root, at Johnny Root _, dude is so lost in leftism that he stomps on Lake and Riley and others' graves. Incredibly tone deaf. Hope he apologizes. Not going to get an apology from Steve Kerr. Steve Kerr's a fraud. Steve Kerr's full of shit. He's obnoxious. He's arrogant. He's so left-leaning he can't see himself as he truly is. In this case, a bit of a monster. Now, if I always go to this. If I were Lake and Riley's family, I'd be so pissed off that he's diminishing what has actually happened to Lake and hundreds of others as the flood of illegal immigrant prisoners, murderers, rapists has come into our country under the Harris-Biden administration. But you're not going to hear a thing. You won't hear a damn thing. No, it ain't coming. Here's more media slander. BuzzFeed calls Trump a biatch. Oh, really? What'd Trump do to deserve that? We ran 80,000 simulations. Trump was a little biatch in all of them. Yeah, that's good. I mean, see, I've said this before and I'll say this again. Trump didn't drain the swamp. Trump exposed the swamp. And it's fun, isn't it? Isn't it fun to see all these little liberal know-nothings yet think they know everything, whining, bitching, moaning, and calling names? It's fun. No, it really is. Auburn students. Well, here's Auburn students' reaction to Donald Trump being elected president. Let's take a look at Toomer's Corner. Toomer's Corner is the place where famously Auburn students celebrate big football wins, probably big basketball wins. Well, there is one of them. Let's see the other. We got a couple. Look at this, USA, USA. See, the thing about it is, and I said, look at this mass celebration at Toomer's Corner. I can hear a liberal right now, well, they're polluting and they probably won't pick it up. People understand that when you see an American flag and you hear USA, USA, unfortunately for our country, it is a one-party deal, the Republican Party. I started noticing this about 6 months ago. It was fascinating to me. Whenever I see somebody yelling, bitching, whining, moaning, always the other side. USA, USA, Republican. That's amazing to me. Unfortunately, USA, USA should be all of us. And I hope that it gets to that point. I do. Because a nation divided, it ain't great. A nation united is unstoppable. And I hope, and I was texting with a very prominent person in the media this morning, I was born in the middle. We were all coming up in Northwest Indiana, taught to think for ourselves with common sense. My parents were school teachers. My father, a lobbyist for the school unions. Most of the people on my block were iron workers, steel workers. My father was an iron worker in the summer. I understand unions. I understand Democrat. Area I grew up with, very Democratic. But I got to tell you, we were all taught to think. We were all taught to think on our own. We were all taught to think with common sense. And common sense won out. It did. Tuesday, a referendum on common sense. What you saw out of Harrison Walls didn't make sense to us. It just didn't. What you saw out of Trump made sense to us. And that was the difference. You can't run up and down acting like this, having strippers, hoochie girls, whatever you want to call them, representing the American people. It's not who we are. We're hardworking, we're tough, we're strong. We're people of character. Always have been, always will be. And character won out. Period. Speaking of reaction, fat bastard, a.k.a., see what I did there? I fell into the trap of the liberals. Dan Le Batard's mad. He's bigly mad. He's made it clear he's completely opposed to the outcome of this year's election. We got all these people. LeBron James is going to protect his daughter. I don't know if anybody's going to get on the flight to leave the country. I have no idea. Barbara Streisand, Babs, baby, adios, whoopee. We'll see ya. Well, I'm going to stay because I'm going to be part of the solution. Oh, shut up. Anyway, fat bastard known as the human bowling ball. My guys wrote that. I kind of dig it. Has made it clear he's completely opposed to the outcome of this year's election, saying the white man's got a dynasty. And what America has decided is that it's okay with a king. You know what's interesting about that? Donald Trump did serve 4 years as president. He did. I mean, I don't know what to tell you, but he did. I mean, and I didn't feel like he was a ruler. I didn't feel like he was a dictator. I didn't feel like he was my king. But people forget that. Libbies forget that. And by the way, Le Batard's white as me. I mean, I get it when he needs to be. He's a chameleon, whatever he says he is. Oh, bullshit. He's white as me. He lives in a gated community, I'm sure. He's whiter than me, actually. Oh, stop. I blow my own leaves. I bet he doesn't. He hires Chaz or someone to come out in a tank top and booty shorts to do his work for him. I promise you that's what Le Batard does. And his little sidekick knee pad Stugatz. Who cares? Here's what they had to say. Dan Le Batard, it's like a verse out of a playbook. America has spoken. Let's hear from Fat Dan.
America has spoken, and America has spoken resoundingly that what they want representing our country in office is everything that represents, whether you want to say hate wins or whether you want to say the white man's got a dynasty. And there was that one loss, the Washington Generals, Barack Obama put on them one time, but they're the Harlem Globetrotters. They do not give up the power. And it's a dynasty that will stay in power at least 4 more years because people have spoken and men have spoken. You will not take this power from us. We will overtake the woman's body and will be a threat to minorities and others. And one of the reasons that it's such a difficult day for me is because, and people like me who are losers today, is that if I view that as a threat and then you view that as your preference, you become a threat. Like, that's the America that I live in, and I didn't think it was the America that I lived in. And it's naive. I can be shell-shocked today and not surprised at all because we had 8 years of warning that this was coming, that America would speak. I just didn't expect it to be this resounding. I was surprised that it was close at all, the way that I view something as a threat to freedom. It seems obvious to me that what America has decided today is it's okay with a king.
Oh, man. He didn't bitch, whine, and moan when Obama was in office. Clinton was in office. Come on. Oh, man, look at how deep he is. He's a fat ass that talks about sports. That's what he is. And all of that is just pure bullshit. Pure, utter bullshit. And I love it. He's been bullshitting people forever. He is as full of shit as anybody can possibly be. And I got to tell you, I admire it. I do. I admire the hell out of it. Anything that is a threat is a threat. Okay, Fat Dan. Yeah. All right, buddy. But when you go to the grocery store, guess what? I don't know. Prices are probably going to come down. Foreign wars are probably going to be stopped. Your tax dollars are probably going to go to better programs than housing a bunch of illegal immigrants that have come over, raped, robbed, and murdered. If that's a threat, Fat Dan, so be it. God bless you. I love Fat Dan. Fat Dan used to be the intro to our show. He was on 2 hours before us, and he was the worst ever. People are like, what is this? But hey, he talks very decidedly, and he talks very correctly. So Fat Dan must be listened to as we celebrate the coronation of a king. What a bunch of bullshit. Stugat's message to you, get out the knee pads, help him out. He seems angry. Come on, do your job, Stugat's. You know what your job is. Get those knee pads out. Go see. There's a little bit of lube left, I'm sure, from P. Diddy. And do your job, Stugat's. Come on, do your job. Fat Dan's bottled up. Caitlin Clark to a new league? What? Stop it. Say it ain't so. Fever Superstar has hinted at the possibility of joining the Unrivaled League. The league plays 3-on-3. It's slated to kick off next winter. Already has a TV deal in place with TNT. Why wouldn't she? I mean, why? What? Why wouldn't you? You're young. The WNBA, I guess, is a thing. Hopefully it'll continue to be a thing. But why wouldn't you go try to make a little extra money? Oh, seems like a pretty good idea to me. Rumors circulating that she could land a Lionel Messi type MLS deal that included equity from the league if she opted to play. Smart move for CC? Hell yeah. Why not? I mean, look, you only have so many years at the mountaintop. This isn't like Jordan or Kobe or whomever. Hell, Kobe raped, paid it off, and still ended up as a hero. That ain't happening in women's sports. It's not. It's not happening in most sports right now. Patrick Mahomes is rocking and rolling, but guess what? Patrick Mahomes is making about $50 million a year. Last I looked, yeah, I'm sure you're making a ton in endorsements, Gatorade, Nike, all that, but you're only making $70,000 from your league. You want to force your league to step up? Join the Unrivaled League and watch your league step up if they can. Not sure they can. We'll see. I don't know. Just take it as it goes and see if I want to play eventually. That's what Caitlin Clark said. I got to tell you, I cared about this in the summer. I don't care about this now. Do you? I mean, look, Caitlin Clark's a good story, and she's handled everything great. But here in Indianapolis, every time she takes a dump, we got to hear about it. Every time she and her boyfriend show up at a Butler game, Pacer game, we got to hear about it. Unrivaled has an open spot for Clark. Should, if and when she's ready to commit to the league. They already have a rights deal with TNT in place for their debut season, which is a massive kickstart to their hopes to continue the momentum that women's sport, specifically hoops, has experienced. But although the sport has seen great growth in numbers as a whole, Caitlin Clark is the driving force. I don't think there's any question about that. I mean, more Angel Reese opens her mouth, the dumber she is. Unrivaled could be a success without her, but it most certainly will be a success with her, at least right now. Be careful here, though. Conventional wisdom has long been that Clark would cherish some true time off after going straight from the NCAA tournament to the WNBA. Well, she's got it right now, right? No? Without a real offseason, but it sounds as though she's at least keeping the door open to see if Unrivaled will make her an offer she can't refuse. I mean, let's be honest, WNBA season ended middle of September. I mean, this doesn't start for a while after the first of the year. I mean, what the hell? Look, I don't know what she should do. I don't pretend to live in anybody else's shoes. I don't. But I'll say this, if you want to be a true pioneer of the WNBA, now that's different than a true pioneer of women's sports. A true pioneer of the WNBA, you stick with the WNBA. And you can still be both. You can still be a true pioneer in helping the growth of women's basketball. If you want to broaden it, then you go to Unrivaled. And what would eventually happen with Unrivaled, I think, is it would either, in interest, overtake the WNBA or get sold to the WNBA. I don't know which one would happen. I can't imagine a winner women's basketball league having any traction, Caitlin Clark or no Caitlin Clark. Although, tell you what, I said this before and I'll say this again, the ratings for the WNBA finals were through the roof, at least compared to what they were. They're not the same as if Caitlin Clark was in it, but they were damn good. So who knows? Maybe women's basketball can stand on its own. Maybe the Unrivaled League can stand on its own without Caitlin Clark, but I doubt it. I do. I doubt it. We shall see. That's a good decision that she has, though. Think about it. If you're going to be in business, Charles Barkley said it right. If you're going to go to Nike, then get ownership in Nike like Jordan did. Don't just get a salary from Nike like Barkley did. If you got a chance, Caitlin Clark, to go to a league and you get part ownership in that league, pretty good deal. The more you own, the better you are. At least the way I look at it. Earlier this year, ESPN told OutKick it would not host any interview with the two candidates running for president, Donald Trump, Kamala Harris, and Pat McAfee, one of the network's biggest stars. Pat has retained full editorial control over his show. So, meaning if Kamala, whatever the hell her name is, Harris and Donald Trump wanted to come on McAfee's show, it was truly McAfee's decision, not ESPN's decision. ESPN doesn't have content control over McAfee. Why, you ask? Because McAfee's a genius. I've told you this forever. He's a freaking genius, this guy. Anyway, McAfee has full editorial control over his daily show. He signed a licensing agreement with the company in 2022 and thus was able to interview both Trump and Harris on ESPN's airwaves. Both campaigns allegedly approached him to do so. However, McAfee declined. Here's Pat McAfee discussing.
Well, I'm going to have to go back to my press conference mode and say, we're just trying to focus on the next day. I'm just trying to focus on doing a good job on the Pat McAfee show and then the Let's Go show tonight, which honestly, that was a great interview here. We interviewed Donald Trump and also we have a couple other surprises on there. So this Let's Go interview was really just kind of got done taping out. It was really a lot of fun. So not to avoid the question, but let's go to the next question.
Yeah, of course. Of course. Can't wait to hear the interview with President Trump. I couldn't even one day before the election, interviewing a president, you're cut out for it. I'm not.
Yep.
You are.
Hell yeah,
You're cut, you and Jim Gray are cut out for it. We've had both political parties reach out about their candidates coming out, and I have clearly said we're not the ones that should be asking these things. You are, though. I'm excited to hear what your conversation.
Jim's done that every year. He's done it every year. So
I'm excited.
I know he invited both candidates on, and it was really, it was a lot of fun. So check it out.
I can't wait.
We would have had some good questions.
Yeah.
I mean,
What'd you do to that squirrel, damn it?
No,
He doesn't deserve that.
Well, and Fred, obviously. Fred, the
yeah.
raccoon, died as well. Nobody's talking about the raccoon that got murdered in cold blood. Yeah, everybody's talking about the squirrel in this entire thing.
Oh, there you go. I mean, I don't think they should have, but I don't think Kamala Harris was going to reach out to OutKick. I know Clay has interviewed Donald Trump. We would love to have an interview like that. I think that'd be fun. I got invited to the inauguration by Jim Banks last night. I like that. We become, something. Anyway, when asked if Bears head coach Matt Eberflus has lost a team, Bears wide receiver who walked off the field in the middle of a play gave an answer that doesn't exactly illustrate faith in Fluss, as they called him here. I want to say no, DJ Moore said. The message yesterday was that we know we're 4-4, just like being 0-0. But you got to go out there, start stacking wins. That's right, like we did. And that's the best thing you can do is win. Let the chips fall where they may after they do so. Here's the deal, though. This dude walked right off the field during a play. Moore later said that he thinks the offense needs to go back to the drawing board, which is a tough thing to do in the middle of the season with a rookie quarterback and an offense coordinator whose own job security is up for discussion. Should the Bears fail to right the ship, it seems likely they'll lose Eberflus, whether or not he's lost the team as a whole. The whole losing the team thing, Here's the Bears' record under Eberflus, 4-4. Okay. 21.5 points a game, which is 19th in the NFL, 294.6 yards per game, which is 28th out of 32 in the NFL, 31st with 31.48 third down conversion rate, 31st in the NFL, 6.4 penalties per game, 16th in the NFL. Now, look, I don't know. We tried to tell you, Eberflus was going to get fired as a defensive coordinator here in Indy, and somehow there's a tiered system. There is for assistant coaches to become head coaches, and he was in the upper tier, and the Bears foolishly signed him. I told this story before. My wife grew up with Eberflus. Eberflus, her brother, my wife's ex-husband, they all lived in the same neighborhood. Eberflus is a really nice guy. Can't coach blind turkeys that take a dump. After Donald Trump beat Kamala Harris in the 2024 election by a landslide, host Joe Scarborough, Morning Joe, admitted that men, all of a sudden, should not be allowed to participate in women's sports. Joe, say it ain't so. Where the hell you been, Joe? Here's Joe Scarborough. What?
If any of you, which camera? Give me a camera to look at. Boom! Oh, look at that one. If any of you out there say, oh, that's just like a conservative, white, Southern guy, da-da-da, that's what you're losing. That's what you're losing. Because that's what I heard. And I didn't hear it from Republicans. I didn't hear it from Trumpers. I heard it from Democrats over the past 3 or 4 years. Their kids were afraid to talk in class and say something unpopular because they would be canceled. And it's an epidemic. Willie will tell you it happens in New York City schools. It happens in colleges. And all of this adds up to people going, come on, this is crazy. And Mike, it's having an impact from, again, the trans ad to, the athletics. And by the way, as we've said on the show 1,000 times, Democrats should be smarter on the women's athletics thing. 85% of Americans oppose men transitioning after puberty and competing against women. And I'm not just saying this the day after the election. I've been saying this for years. This is not a hard call. You can show compassion. And you can show grace. And as the Republican governor of Utah said, let's figure out a way to do this. But one way we don't do this is by allowing men who transition after puberty competing against young girls who have been working their entire lives to be as good as they can be, and then they get destroyed in the pool, on the track, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera.
Look at those morons sitting there going, oh, what the hell's he talking about? Hell, I don't know what the hell he's talking about. Do you know what he's talking about? I don't know what the hell he's talking about. These women are doing what now? You're telling me men with penises are actually playing against women? Yeah, that's what he said. I don't know. Doesn't seem right to me, but is that really happening? I don't think so. Is it? I don't think so. I mean, look at those morons on that set. You people actually watch that show? You actually watch that show. That's what you do? Isn't he stooping the lady on the show? Aren't they married? Isn't that like their thing? Come on. What are we talking about here? What's going on around here? The reaction is really good. All right. The reaction to all of this yesterday was really good. And I'm not going to lie to you. There was no chance I was watching The View. Nick, did you watch The View, Nick? Did you check out The View? Were you watching the great ladies, Sunny Hostin crying, Whoopi Goldberg, I'm guessing, blaming white men? Did you watch The View?
No, I did not watch The View. You wouldn't catch me dead taking this remote, putting it to my TV, and changing the channel to The View. I will never do that in my life. I will watch the highlights on Twitter, though, of them bitching, whining, moaning, and complaining because the white man's responsible for a Trump victory. I'll watch that. That's like a 12, 15-second clip. That's all I'll watch.
Yeah. Yeah, and look, the easiest thing in the world is to bitch, whine, and moan. WNBA player Natasha Cloud went off the rails. That's right. The woke mob is seething. Seething, Natasha Cloud says. The privilege of celebrating right now is exactly what's wrong with us as a people. Okay, Natasha, I'm truly worried about my fundamental human rights. Keep your legs together. Racism, misogyny, hatred of women are so deeply rooted into everything that is America. Until we fix the roots, it will never grow. Everybody wants to believe that those of us that support Donald Trump are racist. We hate women. Me? I don't hate women. Love women. Love my mom. Love my wife, my daughter, my stepdaughter, my sister-in-law, my sister, my ex-wife, my co-worker. What's wrong with you? That's really not what's one of the response. You have just allowed the propaganda to infiltrate your mind. People cannot vote for someone simply because they think the other candidate can do better to fix things. Nothing about race, gender, hate, just a logical decision. The root problem, Scott Fishman said to this idiot, is people like you. Victim mindset, haters. Dog food Bill said, just relax. Everything's going to be fine. Nothing bad is going to happen. You wait and see how things turn out before you're going off the deep end. The sky is not falling. Natasha Cloud. We're all supposed to genuflect to Natasha Cloud. Light and love is Natasha's thing. Light and love. Light and love. Yeah. Brianna Turner's mad. Good for you. Hey, go over there and be mad. It's like I tell my kids, right there. Go over there. Yeah, go over there and be mad. Everything. Sky is falling. Oh, my God. We hate women. Blah, 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 blah. Man. I'm entering my family planning years under this administration, Isabella Harrison. Oh, my gosh, she is. Isabella, your family planning years. What are you going to do? I guess her family planning years includes abortion. Interesting family planning.